In my production piece, it conforms to many different conventions that feature in horror films. For example, I challenge the fear of the unknown, and this is a common convention in horror films. In my production piece, it wasn't initially clear who was the antagonist and who was the protagonist. So throughout the opening scene, the audience are left to speculate over who they believe is the antagonist and who they believe is the protagonist. As in most horror films, it's always established at the beginning of the film so the audience are aware and know what to expect from each character. Also, I developed upon two different conventions that are used in horror films. I used the sound of a gunshot right after a dramatic fade. A gunshot is a frequent convention used in horror films, along with a dramatic fade. The dramatic fade cuts out right before the audience gets to see what happens, increasing the tension felt among the audience. Furthermore, the use of synergy between two conventions increases the dramatic tension of the scene and in turn synergizes with the fear of the unknown, as the audience are unaware of who got shot or if anyone got shot at all. This keeps the audience engaged and creates the emotion response of fear. The representations present in my film are teenagers in trouble, and this is clear by the narrative events throughout the rest of the film, such as Lauren getting abused at home. The location of my opening scene aided the audience in identifying the fact that something about the teenagers are troubled, as meeting in an abandoned car park is unusual and is as it's not a typical thing for a teenager to do. The target audience for my media product was teenagers of mainly females. This is because my media product is relatable to those in this day and age and would therefore appeal to them. Also, I feel that females would find it more appealing due to the fact they would be able to empathize with the vulnerability shown by Lauren's character. Lauren's character is shown to be walking into danger as a naive teenager, which is shown in the continuation of the narrative, thus creating empathy towards her. This would mean that the audience would be more empathetic towards her and therefore would engage with the film more. Throughout the film, both Lauren and Scarlett face problems that everyday teenagers face in today's society. For example, facing the argumentative aspect of other females in their school and being bullied by others for being different. This means that my desired target audience are able to relate this to their own personal experiences and knowledge on how teenagers communicate in circumstances like this. I have taken stereotypes of teenagers from today's day and age and included some in my opening scene. For example, I have included stereotypes such as the rebellious aspect of teenagers, as even though Scarlett performs criminal offences by shooting Lauren, or so we are made to think, she still has an element of rebellion, and though it is extreme, it is still relatable. I have also included stereotypes of teenagers being loud and rowdy, as they both have an argument with one another and consist of raised voices and having an disorderly manner, which allows teenagers to again be able to relate to my production piece. I developed from a preliminary task using filming techniques. I feel that my filming techniques really progressed when I got to my final product. I learned to use a range of shots and angles in order to get my intended feeling of fear across to my audience. In my Swede, I used a lot of eye-line shots, which didn't show my full capability. However, I improved when filming my short film, as I used over-the-shoulder shots and high-angle shots. When I got to my final piece, I used a various of shots so my audience felt specific things at certain points. For example, I used a close-up eye-line shot when Lauren was walking towards the camera, so it felt more personable and intense for the audience, so they could feel as if they could read the fear on her face. Not only this, but I also used over-the-shoulder shots, long shots to establish the area that she was initially in, a high-angle shot to make Lauren seem small and inferior when talking to Scarlett, and make it clear she was in danger as she was being perceived as weak, and lastly, I used a low-angle shot so that Scarlett seemed large and superior over Lauren, and so it was clear that she was a dominant friend and was putting Lauren in danger. When it comes to my final production piece, I feel the equipment used was more effective and worked well as the way I used my software. When filming my production piece, I used a tripod and a dolly, and this all aided in making my film a success, as my filming was made smooth and steady. I also used a more advanced camera compared to what I used when filming my Swede and my short film, as I realized the quality was much better.